Toadfish, heading down the road, fish. Grab up your fishing pole, leave your wife a note. Summertime and the fishing is easy. If you're too late, you'll miss the boat. I'm Janie Meneely. I grew up on the Chesapeake Bay. I was born in Annapolis. My father was a yacht broker who also had a boatyard in Annapolis. So I grew up on the waterfront. We were always on our boats sailing in the summertime. I loved talking to the people that I met, the older people who had such wonderful stories of the Bay. And I'll tell you, I was actually part of, I think, why I'm so interested in the history of the Bay is because I felt jealous. My parents weren't from the Chesapeake. I was born there, but I'm the only one in my family that was born there. So the others were all New Englanders. So my mother didn't know how to cook a soft crab. My mother didn't know how to prepare oyster stew. All of those things that my other friends, their mothers, their grandmothers knew all of this stuff. And I could go to their houses and have all this Maryland cooking or, Southern fried cooking, especially the seafood. So I loved it. And then, of course, as a journalist, I do have records of people that I talked to. I wrote a story about the town of Deltaville, Virginia, just for cruising boaters. I ran into an older waterman who agreed to chat with me. And my big question for him was, I had always heard that the watermen from Deltaville, which is at the confluence of the Rappahannock River and Piankatank, I'd heard stories that these guys, these watermen, would go out at night up to the Potomac River and dredge for oysters. They would poach oysters from the Potomac River. And the history on that is that the entire Potomac River belongs to the state of Maryland. It is a boundary river, but it's not shared. And Maryland law had outlawed power dredging for oysters. The New Englanders were the ones who came down with the dredges and taught the local watermen how to use a dredge boat. Until then, they were tonging, just using hand tongs.
And tell us a little bit about the songbook.
Oh, the songbook. It's called Sing the Bay Fantastic, and it's got about 40 songs in it. Some of them, there are 2 or 3 poems. They're short little poems that are scattered around sort of as fillers, but there were a couple of long poems in there as well. But it's the songs that I began writing back in 1985, I think is maybe when I started, where the songs that I was writing just really began to zero in on the Chesapeake Bay. Thomas Stein eyes he lay sleeping, storm wind tearing the night apart. Came a hand upon his shoulder, words enough to chill his heart. Wake up, the storm's a-raging. Winds do rise, the waves do roll. 5 poor souls are crying heaven, wrecked upon the 7-foot knoll. I printed it out for myself. So this is what it would look like. If you had a copy of it, it would be glossy, the cover, and it's what do you call it? It's coil bound, a ring binding.
So it's easy to turn the pages?
Yeah, so you can lay it out flat. And I have the song, the notations here, and then on this side I have the lyrics and whatever the history of the song might be, whatever story goes behind the song. It includes songs that would tell stories, pieces of the history, like the Thomas Stein song is there, the Oyster Wife song is there, a number of other songs that are, where I talk about where this song came from. But then there are a lot of fun songs as well that just come out of the experiencing the Chesapeake. So this is a song that I wrote because I hadn't heard a sea shanty or any song at all that talked about the thrill of buying a boat.
So you're right.
This is all about falling in love with a boat and then trying to maybe convince your wife or your significant other that you should buy this boat. It's called Susquehanna Susie. Susquehanna Susquehanna Susie, she's my sweet patootie. We go cruising and schmoozing the whole night through. Ain't no doubt about it, gonna empty out my wallet, and I'm going home with Susquehanna Sue. There's a moon up in the sky, wild geese are on the fly. Come on, honey, snuggle up with me. Imagine that we got $1 million yacht. One of my big hits is a song called Nasty Nell, where I imagine that there's a mermaid. Just suppose there were mermaids on the Chesapeake Bay. What would they be like? And I thought about that. I thought they probably wouldn't be beautiful. They would probably have beehive hairdos and batwing glasses and maybe a little beer belly. So that's in the story. And because I did that song, a lot of people have said, oh, we want another Nasty Nell story. We want another Nasty Nell story. So there's another one called Nasty Nell Comes for Dinner.
Oh, so it's a series.
Kind of, well, just 3 of them.
Yeah.
Nasty Nell Comes for Dinner, and it's her eyes had that come hither look. Her lips were pouty pink. She crooked her little finger as she belted down her drink. She had a certain something, oh, it cannot be denied, despite there was that bottom half, just begging to be fried. Toadfish tournament, we don't have any songs about fish or about fishing, and it's one of those things where I wrote it in the car, literally, on the way down the road. So it's called Toadfish. Toadfish, toadfish, heading down the road. Fish, grab up your fishing pole, leave your wife a note. Summertime and the fishing is easy. If you're too late, you'll miss the boat. The bay can be lots of fun. What we need to do is sing songs that are positive, that, make people smile and make people want to be part of what goes on the waterfront. So the Toadfish song kind of comes out of that. Toadfish, toadfish, heading down the road. Fish, grab up your fishing pole, leave your wife a note. Summertime and the fishing is easy. If you're too late, you'll miss the boat.